China's economy continues to slow from its breakneck pace of the past decade. Growth is expected to fall for the seventh straight quarter. The Shanghai Stock Index trading at 3.5-year lows. Well, many analysts say the government needs to move quickly to implement more policy easing measures. Not Jim Rogers, though. He recently argued in a blog that China has loosened up too early. He joins me now from his base in Singapore. Jim, thanks very much for being with me. Last time we had a financial crisis, China tossed more than $1 trillion in stimulus into the economy. Why do you think they shouldn't ease? What do you think they should be doing now?
Well, I'm not China, and I don't have to answer to the Chinese population, so they don't have to listen to me. But if I were China, I would not loosen up yet. You know, they still have inflation. They still have the remains of a property bubble. The whole purpose of tightening up in the beginning was to kill inflation and to kill the property bubble. They still have both. I would hang on until they're both totally dead, and then I would loosen up.
Are you not worried, though, that the economy is really getting sluggish there and something needs to stimulate getting business going again?
Well, China's still growing, you know. China's not falling off the face of the earth like some of the Western countries. They still have a nice, robust economy. And yes, some people are suffering. But in the end, Tara, if you don't kill inflation, if you don't kill a property bubble, in the end, it gets much, much, much worse. And then everybody suffers even more.
What do you expect the authorities to do? We have a leadership transition coming up in the autumn. Is that, in your view, coloring economic policy at the moment?
No, I don't think so. I think that they're looking at the overall economy and the government. The government usually speaks with one voice in China, for the most part. So I think this is probably something that would be happening whether they had a leadership change or not.
How slow, then, do you expect the Chinese economy to go? Do you think growth could fall below the government's target of 7.5%? It doesn't seem like you think that really matters.
Yeah, I don't pay any attention to what governments report for their economic growth. Most of the numbers are made up, whether it's Germany or America, Australia or China or everybody else. Most of these numbers are a sham, so I don't pay any attention to them. I don't know how slow it could go. Why couldn't China have a recession? You know, America, as it was growing in the 19th century, becoming the most powerful country in the 20th century, had 15 depressions with a D, and we still became the most successful country in the 20th century. Some parts of the Chinese economy are going to suffer. Anybody dealing with the West is going to know something's going wrong. But other parts of the Chinese economy, Tara, are going to continue to do well no matter what. If you're in water treatment or pollution control or agriculture, you know, some parts of the Chinese economy will boom, even if the West falls off the face of the earth.
You've been extremely bullish on commodities, though. And so let's say you say China could go ahead and have a recession. Is China's weakness not really going to hurt the commodities market? We're already seeing that in terms of demand in Australia and even production in Australia for commodities.
Well, whenever there's any kind of slowdown in demand, it affects commodities. It affects everything. Television sets, anything where there's a slowdown in demand, someone feels the effects. And certainly when you have China or anyone else slowing down, it has an effect. But, you know, the bull market in commodities is not over. You know, in the bull market in stocks between 1982 and the year 2000, we have 5 or 6 times when stocks went down a great deal. It wasn't the end of the bull market. It was just a normal correction. That's what's happening in some commodities now.
So final question, then. We're seeing a correction in commodities, as you're saying. It's okay to have slowing growth in China. What are you most worried about, Jim?
Well, I guess I'm most worried about the central bank in America, or central banks around the world, but especially in America. They just don't seem to understand what's going on, and they're continuing to print lots of money, which in the end is going to cause huge problems for all of us. So I wish they knew what they were doing, but they don't. We're going to pay the price.
Is China going to pay the price as well?
Everybody's going to pay the price. The Chinese have been trying to explain to the Americans, look, you're printing money. This is not good for, we're your creditor. We're your largest creditor. We don't want you printing money and debasing your currency. I'm a taxpayer in America. I'm a citizen. I'm a voter in America. I don't want them printing money either and debasing the currency. It's not good for anybody.
We'll leave it on that note. Jim Rogers in Singapore, thanks very much for being with me today. I'm Tara Joseph. This is Reuters.